Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about scope. Now, recently there has been some drama around the game called Baldur's Gate 3, where some developers in the industry have essentially come out and said that the game is an anomaly and that players shouldn't expect that type of thing from them, that it shouldn't set a new standard for the industry. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit in today's video because, as you all know, I play Star Citizen and it is a very ambitious game. Now, Star Citizen has been in development for a long time, and so has, other games being released lately. It seems like more and more games are taking longer to make, and more games are becoming more ambitious. Now, kind of the sentiment that the developers had in their comments on Twitter about Baldur's Gate 3 was that there was a lot of content. Because to put things into context, Baldur's Gate 3 isn't that technically advanced. A lot of the reasons why these developers are saying this is because the game has a lot of content. There is a lot of different options that you can take in the story and many different endings that you can get from that. And if that is the way that, the developers of that game want to kind of push the envelope and carve out a niche for themselves, then I think that's a great way to do it. You don't always have to, have the most technically advanced game, and it kind of shows in this situation. In my personal opinion, games need to push the envelope. Okay, it's a competition. The way I see it, if to put things into perspective, let's say you're a runner, and all of a sudden Usain Bolt comes along, and a lot of people do look at that as an anomaly, but all other runners become faster because when you look at that situation, you want to beat Usain Bolt. You're competing to win. It's a competition. Even though he's incredibly fast, that doesn't mean that you just give up. And that's essentially what these devs are saying. These devs are saying, another game is coming along and it is incredibly complex. So fans shouldn't expect that from us. But in reality, this is a competition. You're competing for my $70 and my time. If I'm going to invest my time and my money in a game, it has to be the best. I want it to be the best for what it is. Again, that's why a lot of people compare games. Star Citizen, Starfield. It's not that, these games are similar. It's that if you have limited time to play and you have $70, what are you going to invest your time in? If you want, a game from that genre, what are you going to invest your time in? And let's be honest, people have less time and people have less money. So if you are going to invest your time and your money into something, you want it to be the best. And at the end of the day, it is a competition. This thing has to have the things that you want to experience from it. So in my opinion, games need to continue to get better. Games need to continue to push the envelope. Does this mean that they're going to be in development for a longer time? Yes. But that's kind of the benefit of having more developers and more games to choose from. Like I've said it before, competition is a good thing. Having more options is a good thing. Not just competition, because a lot of times games won't compete directly, but having options. If you are playing a game in a specific genre, to have different options in that genre of something to play. Now, as the scope increases, ultimately what the consumer gets is a better product, a game that has the features that they want, and allows them to do the things that they couldn't do before in games. I mean, that's why it's such a big deal to have this conversation about, 60 FPS. If you're going to create a next gen console and market next gen games, there has to be an improvement. If you are buying into a brand new platform and you're still playing games at 30 FPS, what is the value add as a consumer to this experience? So that's why players want that 60 FPS experience, because the prices are getting more expensive and the games are taking longer to make. They want to see like that incremental improvement in the infrastructure, in the platform that they're investing into. If you go out and you buy a PS5 right now, $500-600, and you're still playing 30 FPS games, what is the value added to you? The fact that these games are, locked into the PS5, that's not a value added. That's artificial value, where the developer is saying that this game only runs on PS5, this game only runs on Xbox. That's not actual value. Okay, so if you're going to do that, fans are not going to be happy. They want a better game. They want, well, they want value for their money and time. That's it. Players are not complex creatures that you have to try to figure out and manipulate. They want their time valued and their money valued. Okay, and then you look into monetization of games coming out now. You look at games like Diablo 4. They have Grand Theft Auto 5. A lot of these games, they have everything under the sun. You have a subscription, you have a cash shop, you have a premium currency, you have microtransactions, you have seasons, you have a battle pass, you have DLC, and then you have a full price. It's like, pick one or two, realistically. All of these different monetization streams, it's too much for players. So I think that, yes, going back to the main topic about scope, and let's kind of tie this in with Star Citizen a little bit. Star Citizen has been in development for over 10 years. Star Citizen has a lot of things in the game, but a lot of people are looking for those things to be tied together, because they've spent a lot of that time building the technology. So now players want the content to be linked together. Now, if you have a game that is that ambitious, it is obviously going to be under a lot of scrutiny. I recently saw, I believe, a video by Obsidian, and I'll, might leave in the video description to go check him out. He makes a lot of other space games, but he recently talked a little bit about Star Citizen and kind of the impossible game. This quadruple A game, essentially making the metaverse. Is this something that all games need to now follow? Go down that road to make, everything immersive, everything interactable, persistence and all this stuff. I kind of said it before, in one of my other videos, kind of the way that you see the the shift in what consumers want. What do we want out of a space game? What is the dream space game? Is it, this full realized universe that is completely seamless? Well, I don't think that every space game needs to follow that formula. I feel like it really comes down to what you want out of the experience. And it's one of those things I feel like people don't realize with Star Citizen is that they're telling a specific story and building a specific experience for what they want to deliver. It's not something that I feel like every space game needs to emulate to be a good space game or compete or be the best space game. And a big selling point of Star Citizen is a lot of its tech, a lot of its technology. And this is where a lot of people are like, oh, CIG building this because they want to sell the engine. No, I don't believe that. I believe that CIG is building and doing all of this because they want to deliver a specific experience, a unique experience, okay? And not every game needs to deliver the same experience to be good. But scope is something that comes down to what experience you're trying to deliver. And that's why I think Baldur's Gate 3 is such a great example. Realistically, I think it's like a click to move game. When you really get down to the gameplay, it's not the tech that really, is that large in scope. It's the content. Okay, so as a game developer, there are so many avenues that you can go down to deliver the experience that you want to without, putting in a bunch of compromises. What game do you want to deliver? What aspects do you want to add to your game that makes it stand out? It doesn't have to be everything under the sun. Okay, Star Citizen is putting a lot of technology, building a lot of technology in his game because they are trying to deliver a specific experience. The developers of Baldur's Gate 3 they're trying to deliver an experience that immerses you in roleplay. Okay, Star Citizen is trying to deliver experience that immerses you in simulation. Okay, so it's like a ground vehicle simulator, an FPS, a mil sim, a space combat simulator. That's the experience that they're trying to deliver. And if you are trying to create a fantasy or sci-fi game and you're not trying to deliver simulation, you can assign a lot of your scope to different aspects of the gameplay. Okay, maybe you want to inject a lot of your scope and your ambition into your game systems. And this is something that I think that the industry should continue to do. I think players deserve better games. I think game developers, they just need to buckle down and make it happen. Realistically, I'm not a developer. I know that it takes a long time to develop games. I know developing games is not an easy thing. A lot of people are saying Unreal Engine 5 is coming out and it's going to make it easier to develop games. I know a lot of bigger developers are, switching to Unreal Engine 5 to be able to develop better games faster. And as technology progresses, you're going to get, in my opinion, better games. What a lot of people also say about Star Citizen is by the time it comes out, it'll be outdated. Well, is that really true? If these larger game developers want to say that a game like Baldur's Gate 3 is an anomaly and not something that players should expect, are they trying to say that for the foreseeable future they're not trying to make ambitious games like that? I think players should be very wary of what developers uh try to make. Realistically, spend your money on the games you want to see. If you want more games like Baldur's Gate 3, spend your money on games like Baldur's Gate 3. If you want to see more games like Star Citizen, spend your money on Star Citizen. That's why I've always, had no problem spending money on Star Citizen, because I want to see more games like it. And by spending money on a game like Star Citizen, you are showing the industry that this is what you want to see. It's basically voting with your wallet. Okay, if you keep spending money on FIFA and World of Warcraft and Diablo 4 and a bunch of games that are kind of like incremental improvements on the previous one, that's what the industry is going to continue to make. But if the industry sees that, hey, this guy just spent 30 grand, 50 grand, $2,500 on this space game, they're going to make more space games because they want your money. I mean, it's really that simple. You're going to, and we're seeing that happen in real time, where there are more and more space games coming out over the last couple of years because the industry sees that people are willing to spend money on good space games. So if you spend your money on a game, then you're going to get more games like that. So that's why I've never had a problem spending money on Star Citizen, because I'm voting with my wallet. I'm telling the industry the type of game that I want to see them make more of. And they're going to make more games like that, and we're going to get better games, because I want better games. I want better space games, sci-fi games. We have a lot of good fantasy games because people spend money on fantasy games. Everybody wants to make the WoW killer. So we have a lot of good fantasy games. So if you spend your money on space games, and you spend your money on the type of games that you want to see, that's the type of games you're going to get. So a lot of people look at Star Citizen scope and like, is this ever going to be finished? Are they ever going to make this game? Who knows? But realistically, if you continue to support games that have the scope and the features that you want to see, those are the games that you're going to see happen. And again, not everybody's going to agree with CIG's way of developing the game. But again, I see it as something that's, slowly pushing the industry forward. When Starfield came out, was announced, and all these features came out, a lot of people were really excited about it. And what's not to be excited about? Imagine if Star Citizen wasn't announced in 2012, and all we got was, I mean, since then, just look at how many great space games we've gotten. And I'm not saying it's solely because of Star Citizen, but I feel like Star Citizen definitely plays a role in that, in pushing developers to say, can we really make this? And yes, it takes more time, but I'm not really worried about that, because you're really building things for the next generation. The next generation of consumers, they're gonna get a better product, and that's what they deserve. The last thing you want is your kids or your grandkids still playing WoW. To me, that seems like a nightmare situation. They should be playing bigger and better games. And if spending the money now to make it happen, to support it, is the price, so what? You have fun in the meantime, and and I think a lot of people are gonna be excited about Baldur's Gate 3. I think a lot of people are gonna be excited about about Starfield and these larger scope games. So, yeah, a little short video for you guys here today. This is just basically what I think about what's going on in the industry, the scope of these games. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I feel like this is a really interesting discussion, and it's one that I feel like a lot of people always have, but at the end of the day, they want to say that they don't want to wait 10 years for a game. And I mean, who does want to wait 10 years for a game? But sometimes you got to do the hard thing because it's what's best. And that's kind of just what I think. You know, it's not going to be easy road, but it has to be done. Someone has to do it. And I'm glad CIG is doing it. I'm glad other developers like Bethesda's doing it, because I want better games. And hopefully you guys do too. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Comment down in the comments down below. I want to say you guys have been doing amazing on the videos, supporting the channel. The channel's been growing so much. I'm looking at the views and it's just incredible. So thank you guys for all the love and support. I really appreciate it, and I hope to continue to make a ton of more cool content for you guys coming up here in the future. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's gonna be it from me here today, you guys. Like I always say, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Salud.